So welcome and thanks very much for joining my animation channel again. In this video we're going to look at a bit of work I did on a scene that I'm creating in the Animating with OpenToonz course, so let's dive in and have a look at it. Okay, so in this video we're going to fix up these walk cycles. There's three characters walking across the port here and they're a little bit bumpy and jumpy, so we're just going to go in and fix these walks. Quite easy to do. If you recall, we created these walk cycles by importing the walk cycle templates from the course. These walk cycle templates were something I created because I found creating solid walk cycles difficult. That's my first try there. So I created these walk cycles just to help me with my actual creating walk cycles. So this is how we created them early in the course. We created our characters. This guy's in plastic, and then we just applied the templates behind him, and it made creating that walk cycle pretty easy. So let's open our scene. You can see there's not much background. I've turned all the visuals of the background off, just so it's visually more simple, and also it speeds up the running speed, the processing speed. So that's all off, including this sub X sheet here, which has a lot of the reflections, etc. And we are going to be fixing up these three. Two of them are sub X sheets in the purple. So let's look at the first sub X sheet. And because the actual walk cycle in the sub X sheet is a continuous walk cycle from A to B, and it just has these joins, all we need to do is go and join up these sub X sheets so that they run seamlessly. The other character, the painter here, he's a different story. We're going to have to do that frame by frame because it's not a continuous walk cycle. So let's start with this character here, the man with a sack. And that is a sub X sheet, so as I say, it'll be a continuous walk cycle, 48 frames in this case, and then it's just a case of joining up frame 48 with frame 1 and joining each sub X sheet together. So with our onion skins turned on, that's pretty straightforward to do. Probably was in a bit of a rush when I did these the first time around, so some of them weren't good. And we can just take them up a little bit. I've made them quite a bit bigger than the other characters. And we just run through it. So we're just joining up frame 48, the last of one sub X sheet strip, with frame 1, the beginning of the next strip. And there's a whole bunch of these 48 frames joined together like this. So pretty simple stuff. That's what I love about sub X sheets. It really does make repetitive moves like this very easy to manage. So that's the guy with the sack, the man with the sack. And if we just play it out, there he goes. He's still got a slight slip in his foot, but it's a heck of a lot more smoother. So let's look at the other character. This guy does have a little bit of a limp, and that was from when I created the walk cycle. So he's coming in behind the painter there. Also his feet are quite stiff. This guy we animated in skeletons. And I should have put maybe a joint bone in his foot just so his feet could bend, because they're looking very, very stiff. But as with the previous guy, which we did in plastic, we compressed this guy into a sub X sheet as well, so it's just a case of joining up the end with the beginning of the next one. Again, pretty simple. Now when it comes to this painter, it's a different story because I exported this from another scene, so it's a continuous strip of frames. So I had to come in and I decided, I think here on this cycle it is 12 frames or 24. So every third frame I put in a key. And the one method I used to use was I would actually put in marks like this. I'd create another column and then draw some markers down, and also put in some horizontal support lines or indicators of the horizontal like this. And that's how I used to do these walk cycles. The other way to do it, the more obvious way, is just turn on your onion skins and do it like that. But I actually quite enjoy physically putting the marks down. I found that worked very well. But yeah, if you use the onion skin method, which is probably the most popular, just make sure that you set your onion skin to line up with the previous key. So in this case, every third frame. So our onion skin is 3 frames behind, and then that makes it pretty easy. Then it's just a case of lining up your current foot with your previous onion skin shadow there. and it makes it pretty straightforward. As long as your initial animation is quite smooth, it's pretty straightforward to set this down, and that applies for the sub-X sheets as well. The real problems come in when the original animation, the walk cycle isn't good and it's all jumpy. So let's export that. And when I export it, you can see it's got all the backgrounds and stuff come through, and that's because once again we've turned off the visibility here on those buttons, but the top icons that look like eyes there are the ones that are used for the rendering. So although it's not visible, it will render out. So there is the walk cycle rendered out, and we can see some problems with this straight away. First of all, the reflections in the harbor don't line up with the characters, especially you can see the painter who's exiting to the right there, and his reflection is still in the water here just below the seal, just to the left of the seal. So that's the one problem. And then also this man with the sack that we fixed up, he seems to be floating here, so he needs to come down a bit. So let's look at fixing that up. We'll look at fixing the reflections up in another video, but let's just fix this guy up here. Now, you could go and on every key just bring it down or just adjust it on the vertical, but that would be quite a lot of work and unnecessary. So let's just look at an easier way. One alternative is to apply pegs, but the way this is set up in the schematic, and also because pegs don't show visually on the X sheet, which is a major pain, I don't like using pegs, and they won't actually help us much here. So all I'm going to do is insert a new column, and then I am going to create a new level. Toonz raster, it doesn't really matter what it is, could be vector, it doesn't matter. And then go down to the end of this and just fill it. That's actually unnecessary, to be honest. You need a column with a new level. But visually I'll just drag it down there. And then pull up your stage schematic, go and find the character, there he is, and then also find the column that you've just created, there it is. So let's just drag it down to the character, and now what we need to do is place this new column in line with the character. So the character is a child of the back wall on the left there, and what we want to do is insert this column between the character and that back wall. So let's make the column the child of the back wall there. Just drag that across to the node, and let's just check it. Yeah, it hasn't jumped or bumped it out. And then what we want to do is we want to just zoom in here. We want to make the character the child of that column. So let's just name that column control. You can name it whatever you want. Everything's joined up to this back wall here. Let's just go make that character a child of the control column like that. And then let's go and select anywhere on the control column that we've created. Go up to the top left, turn on the animate key, and with position on, we can go and grab the character and move it. Oh dear, we've parented the wrong character. Sorry, undo that. Control Z will undo. Let's just bring up the schematic. There's our character there, the man with the sack. So let's make that the child of the control, and let's undo this over here. So we will go and grab that other character and make him the child of the back wall there, and it should, yeah, okay, there we go, that's fixed up, sorry about that. And then we can go and grab the man with the sack and we can pull him down like that. And that's how we do it. So that's very simple. No need to go and change all these keys along the way. Very straightforward to do. So you can take this up, you can move it down, and also when you're moving it in the vertical or horizontal, or even when you're bringing it in and out on the Z axis, you can just keep your shift button down, and that will keep it so going up and down in the vertical will be straight, and if you do it horizontally with your shift down, it will be straight as well. So it keeps it on the one axis. So a little tip there. And then we can just go and place this guy. There he is, no longer levitating or floating. So let's do an export. Let's export the scene again and play it out and have a look at it. And yeah, the painter is walking a whole lot faster. I think he was walking very slow to start with, but the main thing is it's nice and smooth, and the man with the sack is now on the ground, so it's looking a whole lot better. And also, if you'll notice, the reflections have been fixed up, but I'll show you how to do that in the next video. That's all in this Animating with OpenToonz course, so please check it out. The links are in the description here.